Hello, this is Brian from Top Off My Coffee. I'm coming to you with a comparison video today between the Keurig K-Supreme and the K-Supreme Plus. It wasn't that long ago, a little over a week ago, I posted a couple videos about the regular K-Supreme. I unboxed it. I did a kind of a feature overview video. I got a lot of good feedback on that video. I wasn't actually ever anticipating buying the K-Supreme Plus because I really liked this machine, and I didn't actually think that the K-Supreme Plus was going to offer any additional features that I cared enough about to buy. Um, the most obvious new features on the K-Supreme Plus over this is the additional 4-ounce button for a preset 4-ounce coffee cup, and you get the presets, so you can set 3 different presetted settings. So if you like, I don't know, a 10-ounce cup brewed high temperature but low strength, I don't know, you could set that to just be a 1-button push. I didn't actually think I was going to use that because I'm the only one making coffee in the house. My wife drinks tea most of the time, so I didn't think I needed 3 different settings for 3 different people. But after I've been fiddling around with it and using it, I have come to the realization that I'm not going to be using those settings for person A, person B, and person C. I'm going to be using those settings for, I don't know, just different settings of coffee that I like to brew. Most of the time, I like brewing high strength 8-ounce cups of coffee. If I'm using a premium K-Cup, and I want to maximize the flavor, then I might go for a 6-ounce cup on the highest bold setting. So I'm finding that that is actually worthwhile for me, even though I didn't think it would be. Now, the K-Supreme Plus is more expensive than the regular K-Supreme, but it's not like wildly more expensive. It's just a little bit more expensive. You do get a bigger water reservoir than this one. It's not substantially bigger. It's about 12 ounces bigger. So if you're brewing 6 to 8 ounce cups of coffee, then you might get 1 to 2 extra cups of coffee out of every reservoir fill. I do appreciate that Keurig has calibrated these machines well. On the box, it says that the reservoir is 66 ounces, and once you throw the charcoal water filter in, it ends up being pretty close. It's the charcoal water filter offsets the water by about 1 to 2 ounces. It's about 64. This, I want to say the box says it's a 78, and I'm putting about 76 ounces in it when I put the charcoal filter in it. Speaking of calibration, the preset buttons for your cup size are really well calibrated. If you press 6 ounces, literally 6 ounces comes out almost exactly. 4 ounces comes out exactly. If you press the 12, exactly 12 ounces comes out. I'm really impressed with the accuracy of that. The over ice button, you get an over ice on both. The over ice button tends to put out about 5 3/4 ounces of coffee. That's the only amount that it will put out. The reason for that is if it's putting out a lot of coffee, people are putting cups under here with ice in it. The ice melts and then that waters the coffee down. So also you can only fit so big of a cup under here. So if there's ice in it, you don't want it overflowing. I don't know, there's a variety of reasons. For me, it's the watering down of the coffee. That's why it is a smaller ounce portion size. But it does brew it a little bit hotter, and it takes a little bit longer to brew it so that the coffee is more, let's say, bold or strong, because they expect the ice to water it down. I do like that both of these brew really good coffee, like substantially better coffee than any other K-Cup coffee maker that I've tried. Now I've got I'd have to count them. I think I have about 15, maybe more than that, K-Cup coffee makers in my garage. I've tried a lot of them over the past year and a half. I do have a website which is linked below. You can take a look at some of the cheaper K-Cup options that I like I'll put a link down below. These are some of the more expensive ones, but man, they are really good. They make the best coffee. Keurig has come out recently with this new 5-point system. This is new. Like, I don't think I've seen it on any other coffee maker anywhere. Instead of 1 needle puncturing the cup, it ends up being 5. And basically that allows even extraction from all of the grind in the coffee or in the K-cup kind of simultaneously. If it's one needle puncturing the middle, that middle saturates much quicker than everything kind of in the upper, the upper areas around it up here. That 5-point basically just allows that coffee grind to extract better, more evenly. Both of these machines, they start brewing so fast and so quietly. Much faster and much quieter than just about anything I've ever seen or heard of. In about 11 to 12 to 13 seconds, coffee starts coming out at full temperature. Most likely, both of these machines' innards are about the same, so it's traveling through this, heating coil tube. So it heats it up very quickly. The strong buttons on both of these, I've got a video that I made previously, and it's also linked down below in the description. Make sure to take a look at it if you want to know how the bold settings work. Both of these have a bold setting. In short, the bold setting just slows the water flow through the K-cup. So it gives it more water to coffee grind contact time. Kind of like if you do pour over coffee, you don't want to just throw the water in and walk away. You want to pour it in slowly. You want more contact time so that a better extraction happens. You want the cup of coffee to actually taste as good as possible, and that's what the bold setting does. This machine offers you 3 different strengths. You've got, they bill it as 3 different strong buttons. It's really kind of just regular. You got a regular and a regular, and then you got a bold, and you got strength number 2, the middle setting. This one just offers an extra bold setting that they don't call it extra bold, but it just slows that water flow down even more. Every setting possible on this, you can get a cup of coffee completely done on the 8-ounce cup selection in under 1 minute and 30 seconds. This one, using that 8-ounce selection, you can get everything done under 1.5 minutes except for the triple strength setting. The triple strength setting really is great. If you put it on full strength and full temp, your cup of coffee is done in 1 minute and 56 seconds from when you hit the start button. And that extra amount of time, that it takes to finish the cup of coffee all goes into, or the vast majority of it goes into, the water to coffee grind contact time, because coffee starts coming out in 12 seconds, even when you push all of those settings. So you get 1 minute and 44 seconds of water to coffee grind contact time, which is fantastic. For comparison, if you use the K Mini Plus, which came out, I want to say in 2018 or so, I do have a video where I've reviewed that. You can find that linked below and up here. But if you use the strong setting on the K Mini Plus and also brew an 8-ounce cup of coffee, you got to hand measure that. But if you do that, your contact time from water to grind is much lower. It's somewhere around 1 minute and 15 seconds. You get a solid 30 extra seconds of contact time with this on their strongest setting, which does, and then once you pair that up with their multi-stream technology, technology is a silly way of calling that. It's just 5 points of, water. It really just makes a better tasting cup of coffee. It really does. I can easily tell the difference. I've also got some super cheap K-cup coffee makers in the garage that attempt to do this like crazy fast, and it just doesn't work well. Not to mention the fact that those cheaper machines, like, they taste plasticky. I don't know, you can just taste the quality difference in these machines over the cheaper alternatives. Both of these machines have a high altitude setting, which changes kind of the internal temperature. It doesn't want, the point of that is you don't want the water to start boiling inside the unit. I mean, water boils at 212 down at, the beach. But if you go up 8,000 feet, that water boils significantly lower temperature. So to preserve the quality of the coffee coming out, and honestly, probably the machine, like the actual inner workings of the machine, the high altitude setting can be toggled on and off. It will lower the temperature of the cup of coffee by a couple degrees. I'm sure it's a big difference up here, but by the time it gets to your cup, it's barely noticeable. It's only about 2.5 degrees on average that I've measured. You do have that in both machines. This, however, gives you a actual brew temperature selector, which this doesn't. Now, that's cool because some people really dislike getting super duper hot coffee out of their machine. You can put this down on temperature setting 1, and it's a lot, I don't know, more palatable right out of the machine. If you set it up to the highest setting, that's more of a preference thing. Some people think that it does brew better and tastes better. It's going to be up to you. I mean, that truly is a preference thing. For me, I like to brew it as hot as possible, but that's just me. This does give you the option. In my previous video where I talked about the features of this, I basically said that you could, even if you were like down at a lower altitude, you could toggle that high altitude setting on to alter the temperature, so you had a slight amount of temperature control with this. But this, it is much easier to control the temperature. For me, I am amazed at how well this feels. This feels so rock solid. Like it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel like metal, I mean, it could be slightly more robust, but this is the most comfortable feeling lever that I've felt on a Keurig machine. And I got a bunch of Keurig machines. This thing feels solid. I thought this one felt solid when I was comparing it to some of the other Keurig machines, but this takes it up a notch. I don't feel like this is gonna break. Now, I still recommend manually snapping that K-cup in on this just to take some pressure off the lever and to get a better seal on the K-cup sitting flush and straight down. But man, that just feels great. I think for the price difference, now you asked me this 2 weeks ago, I didn't think there was going to be substantial difference. I didn't think the extra price was going to be worth it. But having tested this for a while, I do believe that this is a better value over that. If you're going to spend the money to buy a K-Supreme, because they are some of the more expensive K-cup coffee makers of any brand anywhere. If you're gonna spend that much money, you might as well spend just a little bit more and get this, because I think you will find the multiple strengths and multiple temps and the larger reservoir to be worth it. Personally, if I put this on the highest temperature and the highest strength level and brew an 8-ounce cup of coffee, this is still done 30 seconds faster than my K-Mini Plus, and it does it with less sound. Like, I don't know if that's a selling point or not. It sure is to me. I hate the fact that things make sound, but this is very, very quiet. I mean, just whisper silent. My kids even noticed how quiet it was. They were surprised that it was on. So I like it a lot. I do recommend, if you're also going to be spending money on like this amount of money on a nice fancy K-cup coffee maker, I've got a video linked up here, and it's down in the description below. It's about the mistakes people make when they're making K-cup coffee. There legitimately are some mistakes that most people make that make their coffee taste not as good as it should. Watch that video, and I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe. I'm going to have some more comparisons coming out and some tutorials coming out as well. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will respond as quickly and accurately as possible. Have a good day.